Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is the Wasenshi-do dojo, and today we're going to be talking about Kamae, which is stances in Japanese. So we're going to talk about stances and balance. This is the most basic foundation for any physical martial arts or self-defense, and it could be good for almost any kind of exercise, and it's good for you and your health and well-being as well. So the first thing is balance. Okay, just me standing here takes balance. Okay, I'm not falling over forward, I'm not falling backwards. So that's the first thing, is balance. If I go on one foot, that's balance. We really have to work on our balance when we are training, and especially in martial arts. So with balance, stepping to and from different stances, okay, from standing normal to standing back here. If you're defending yourself or doing these different kinds of movements in martial arts training, if you're jumping in the air, if you're in defense, if you're doing self-defense and you're moving back out of the way or moving around something or to the side, it all takes really good balance. So practicing these stances will be beneficial for your balance, for your technique, for everything else you do in martial arts training, self-defense, amongst other things. So first thing we're going to talk about when it comes to stances is triangulation. So imagine that I'm on, okay, not the gigabytes. So triangulation. You're at the center of this little diagram right here, and there's an X. So you can triangulate forward in 45-degree angles or backwards at 45-degree angles. So if I'm standing on that point, I can go back at a 45 defensive stance, and back the other direction at a defensive stance. And now moving forward, more of an offensive combat stance, back to the point. And again, if something's coming straight in, I'm going to step off at an angle, forward. Okay? So something's coming in, step off, parry. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm getting out of the line of attack, and I'm also getting closer to the person. Okay? If I'm defending, or if I'm moving backwards in a defensive maneuver, something's coming straight in, I'm moving out of the line of attack, and I'm evading at an angle, so I'm getting further away. Okay? So I can move back, the other way at another angle, and then maybe move forward at an angle. Okay? If I want to come in and counter, do an attack, do an offensive maneuver. So that's triangulation. Super important for defense, self-defense, and combat and martial arts training. So moving on to the next one, horse stance. Okay, so I'll move that right there. All right. Little wider than shoulder width distance, or even a little further, depending on what you're doing. Let's go a little wider than shoulder width distance. Feet are straight forward. Bending my knees slightly and pressing them out slightly. Okay. My back is nice and straight. It's not arched. My pelvis is tucked in a neutral position. It's not fully tucked. It's just nice and neutral. Lower back is nice and neutral. And just kind of pulse up and down to feel comfortable. You know. Okay. Posture is neutral. My chest, shoulders, my chin is straight up. From here, you can just have your hands to the side, hands to the belly. If you're just working on building the strength in your legs and your hips, or you can bring your hands up, more traditional. One of the things I learned just Either have your hands like you have reins here, as you start working on the muscles of the forearms and arms, or you can have it out for some focus techniques. Gazing through the triangle, okay? Gazing through the triangle with an open focus. I'm not looking straight at one thing, I'm looking through it, but I'm focusing with an open awareness of everything around me. So as I'm gazing forward, I can see the camera, I can see the light over here, I can see Bob over here, I can see here. Okay, that comes in handy when you're also doing combat and self-defense techniques as well. All right, so horse stance. You can also go lower. Really good to hold this for about 1.5 minutes at a time or more, working yourself up. Building that strong foundation in your legs. Horse stance goes back thousands of years. Such an important stance. Might not seem like it, but it's really, really good. Next stance is the bow stance, and these are just the basics. There's more to each of these stances, but I'll do other videos on that. The bow stance. So from horse stance here, I'm going to turn and open my stance and do a nice angle of my feet, 45-degree angle about, bend the legs, arms out to the side. The horse stance is also an earth stance, so we're talking about the elements. Bow stance is an air stance because it's flowing, it's moving. It's flowing and moving, and it's fluid. It's kind of watery, but it's open and it's relaxed and it's like a cloud. Okay, so you could be standing normal and an attack could come straight at you, and you could just literally just go, whoa, and open to get out of the way. Use your arms to help you move, step out, and then you could go from there. You can do a collapse onto the person if somebody's coming at you, and they come like this, and then you just open, and then you can go into a bear hug or whatever, depending on what the situation is. Next stance is offensive stance or combat stance, and this is the fire element. So this is many different, there's no specific one way to do this. Each of these stances it's just a guide to how you want to do each stance. There's a little variations in each of these stances. So this is just a guide. Now offensive stance is stepping forward and having your feet a little wider on shoulder width distance. You have some space between your feet, and it's an active combat style stance. So your hands are up, you're ready to move, okay? So your hands are out, hands are open, ready for grappling, grabbing, moving, and also parrying. Okay, hands are open. Now from standing normal, stepping forward. Okay. So literally staying one foot forward, turning that back foot sideways, front foot pointing forward. Okay, again, just anywhere in a forward, maybe a slight angle, the back one's to the side, or very close to a sideways or maybe a slight angle. Okay, here. Can be a little bit closer, but that's more of a boxing stance. A little deeper for a little more grappling, jiu-jitsu, more combat, maybe self-defense. Okay. Getting low. Okay. So stepping forward. Boom. So coming from neutral stance, stepping forward in a triangulation. Even if you just step straight forward, your feet are kind of at a nice, almost sideways, kind of a bow stance, but you're a little bit deeper. Okay, so this is an offensive combat style stance. Okay, hands can be up here. You can also just do it as an exercise. This is really good for your exercise, back and forth, maybe bend low, put those elbows in there. It's a great workout. Next stance, boxing stance. So if you just stand neutral, you jump up in the air and kind of let your feet go a little wider. Okay? Have your feet, your heels just slightly off the floor. And bounce. This is your boxing stance. Hands are up. Open hands by the chin, by the face. Shoulder height. Maybe a little lower. Okay? And then switching back and forth. This is fighter. This is your boxing stance. This is your fighting stance. Okay? Back and forth. Moving, moving, circulating. Okay? You're literally just moving around in a circle. Okay? That's good practice for the boxing stance. Use that while you're using Bob or any other, if you're sparring or if you're got the big bags, punching bags at the gym. Defensive stance, low defensive stance. This is water and earth element, depending on what you're doing. So from our triangulation, we're stepping back at a 45-degree angle. Okay, my front foot is in a forward position. Back one's in a side position, moving back and forth. Okay. Now from here, let's say something happens and something's coming at me, stepping off at an angle, and you got your hand here, your check hand for defending. So something's coming in, you're parrying, maybe you parry something out of the way, maybe you do something again, parry, and you go the other way, parry back this way. Okay, here. So, stepping back at an angle, and then coming up to the point, stepping back the other way. This is good practice just right here. Right here. Parry with the hand, step up, parry with the hand, parrying. The other hand comes up here by the head for protection. Okay. If something's happening and there's multiple attackers, you're dealing with something in front of you, you're stepping back, hands here for checking. You got a hand right here for your neck for if somebody comes and tries to choke you from behind. And here maybe you're scanning, and then you go this way, you scan this way, you turn. Okay. So this is earth, getting low, getting to the ground, earth element, and also flowing. You're flowing like water. Boom. If you come back and you flow forward with a strike, you flow back and you come in with strikes. So it's flowing and then you come in. That's like a wave. So you're using this wave that's flowing and then you come in with an attack or some sort of offensive maneuver. That's the water. Maybe you step back and there's something coming from up here and you're blocking up. So you're parrying, blocking, and then coming in with strikes, maybe a knife hand to the neck here, and you step in, boom, right to the neck. Low defensive stance. So defensive, and then literally just going right down to the ground, both hands down. You can be comfortable on the balls of the feet. Okay, here. You're crouching behind something. This is an evasion stance, or being out of sight. Okay, lowering your center of gravity behind a little wall, bushes, anything. And what you're doing is also grabbing things off the ground. Okay, there's grass, leaves, dirt, rocks, anything you get your hands on. Someone comes around and boom, Matsumish, right in their face. Then you can go on the attack or you can go on the evasion. Wing Chun, Kung Fu stance, also an earth stance. Okay. If I take maybe a horse stance or a combat stance. Okay. Let's do it this way. Combat stance. Turn my front toes inward just a little bit and my back toes inwards just a little bit. So you duck-footed or bow-legged a little bit. No, bow-legged is the other way. Pigeon-footed, turned in. And so your knees are kind of turned in. This is for close quarters combat, like if you're fighting in a phone booth or some sort of small space where there's not a lot of movement. left or right. It's just for forward and backward movement, and you get a lot of power generated towards the center line of the body. So here, so I'm squeezing my knees in like this, squeezing in, opening my knees, squeezing my knees in, and turning my feet in, my heels kind of turn out. Okay, that gives me a little more power towards my center line. So if someone tries to uproot me or move me, I'm a little more, okay, a little more secured here. My front foot is more flat foot. My back foot can be a little bit with my heel off the floor. So it's you're generating this energy towards the center line. Okay, and then you can move parry this way, parrying back and forth, or parrying inward and moving in here. And you're moving, you can step with this here, step, boom, strike, strike, and moving as you are keeping that stance. And you're in your lower dantian, you're really feeling grounded in this one. So that's why it's earth. Last posture on the list, last stance, Wuji, Chinese stance for, it's kind of like a dichotomy. Wuji stands for, it's the void. So it's the ultimate emptiness. So it's being one and all at the same time. So it's a meditation. It's a meditation standing up. So it's like transcendental meditation where you're transcending the physical body, but you're standing up with a posture. You're allowing your energy and your body to circulate. So this is for after your exercise. This is for meditations when you want to slow down. Okay, it's a meditation, so you do it afterwards. You can do it by itself as well, but it's nice to get your exercise first and then go into your meditation, because you want to get the blood flowing and you connect your mind and your body together, your brain and your body, and feel that wholeness, and then do a meditation if it's sitting down or if it's standing up. But this is stances, so we're talking about the stances meditation. So this one can be done shoulder width distance, or a little wider than shoulder width distance, maybe slightly wider. Feet are straight forward, bending the knees slightly. Now, just the basics for this one today. It takes too long to talk about every single thing. Just standing straight, bending the knees slightly. You can do it without bending the knees, but just not having them locked. So you just loose and relax the knees and make sure your legs are running your muscles, or you can do a slight bend and get a little bit of exercise out of it. This is the proper traditional way to do it, with the legs bent. Okay. You still see your toes. The arches of the feet are slightly raised up because your knees are just slightly bowed out to the side. And your hips are nice and neutral. So what you can do is you can tuck your hips fully, then you can arch the back and stick out your butt, your tailbone, and then just come right back to center. So you just kind of go back and forth to find the center, right there. The lower back is flat, or even slightly bowed. Okay, in Chinese, in Qigong, there's a slight bow to the back, a slight bow to the shoulders. Okay, hands are placed on the lower dantian, just below the belly button. Okay, slight cave of the chest, not much. You're not sitting here bowed like this, but you're not open like this either. So it's neutral and then slightly bowed. Okay, relax the lower back, relax. Okay, really important to relax this lower back so the energy can flow and circulate. Okay. The head is slightly turned down, chin is slightly tucked in, and imagine there's a string to the top of your head, or the back top of the head, that's lifting you up. but you're not standing up, you're staying, you know, with your legs bent, but your whole posture just kind of, if that makes sense. Okay? Like you're holding a tray of, there's a tray on top of your head and you're holding something up there. Okay? So you're, with your energy, it's like you're expanding the vertebrae. Your whole spine is just like going up. So you're really grounding down through your feet, and then you're coming up and extending the body and the crown upwards. Breathing in and out the nose, hands on the belly, lower dantian. And you can just do this, start with just a minute or two, and people go up from there. 5, 10, 15 minutes. That's going when, you know, doing this all the time and getting really good at it. But just stick with just a few minutes. That's all you need to start with. I think my teacher was doing 45, 50 minutes. I think I've done like 15, 20 minutes before. Nothing too crazy. Not a huge meditation thing for me, but I really love to do this. This starts the whole thing with, you know, standing with post. Your Wuji practice can be like this, okay, but that gets into more advanced stuff, more advanced meditation stuff. So, all right, I hope you liked the video, and practice diligently. Have fun. I'll see you next time.